Hello and welcome to the video. In this video I'm going to be talking about different formulas that's available in trigonometry. I will be discussing certain techniques on how you can remember these formulas, and also the values of trigonometric ratios like sine 30 or a sine 45, how you can remember them, some techniques on that. If you Google it out, you will find a lot of techniques on how you can probably memorize these. This is just my technique that I use. Probably you can follow that and make use of that in scoring good marks in the examination. I'll probably talk about one particular concept that I came across, which I felt was really nice. I think it's called as a golden hexagon. I'll try to explain that to you too. Without further delay, let's just start off with the video. So, what is trigonometry? Trigonometry can be broken into three words. One says trigonometry. Some people break this into two, and some people go with three words. I go with two. Trigono simply means three-sided figures. Metry would simply mean measurement. So measurement of three-sided figures is trigonometry. And what are the three-sided figures we know? Basically the triangles. So what are we measuring in triangles? We are measuring the sides, we are measuring the angles, and not the vertices, the sides and the angles mostly. So let's say we have a triangle ABC. With this angle given to you and this length given to you, how would you find this and this and that? That's all trigonometry is all about. Initially, when you learn trigonometry, you're going to be learning them on right angle triangles only. Okay, and slowly you will realize that trigonometry can be applied to any type of triangle. When you enter into your 11th and 12th standard, you will learn a lot more of trigonometry. But because you're getting introduced to the concept of trigonometry in this academic year, it's going to be very simple. It's like you're trying to play some kind of a sport for the first time. They're not going to ask you to directly represent India for the Olympics. You will be put through a process of training, and you will be taught very basic things before you can actually become a champion. So this academic year, the amount of trigonometry that you're learning is far more lesser compared to what you're going to learn in 11th and in 12th. Is the chapter tough? Well, I would treat this chapter as one of the chapters amongst all the other chapters. And this is just another concept that you're going to be learning. Yes, if you ask other students, they obviously will say that trigonometry is the toughest, but that's not true. It's just another chapter, and yeah, it has its own ups and downs, and I'm sure you will learn that. So let's look at a right angle triangle. Now, if this is a right angle triangle, I can ask you what's sine theta, right? So some people who are good at trigonometry, they might directly say, sir, it's AB by AC. Well, that's not true, because I have not mentioned to you where the angle theta is. Depending on the value or the place of theta, my opposite side and adjacent side changes. So if my angle theta was here, then this would become my opposite side and this would be my adjacent side. And if my angle theta was here, then with respect to this angle theta, this is my opposite side. I'm sure some of you would have learned this as perpendicular and base, right? You can go with opposite and adjacent also. And this will obviously be my hypotenuse. In a right angle triangle, you know that the hypotenuse is the highest side. So we're going to now be defining certain ratios. Okay, and we're going to name those ratios. For example, I'm going to call OP by HYP, which is opposite by hypotenuse, as sine of an angle. Okay, so those are the basic definitions. SINE theta. This is abbreviated as sine theta, which is basically opposite by hypotenuse. And then we have the cosine theta. Cosine theta, which is abbreviated as cos theta, that is simply the adjacent by hypotenuse. And then we have the tangent theta, or simply the tan theta, which is nothing but, well, it is opposite by adjacent. However, I would appreciate if you could remember this as sine theta by cos theta. Sine theta by cos theta. And then we have the secant theta. Secant theta, which is abbreviated as sec theta. This is the reciprocal of cos theta. And then cosecant theta, which is cosec theta, which is 1 over sine theta. And then we have the cotangent theta, which is basically cot theta, and that's 1 over tan theta. 1 over tan theta. So these are the basic trigonometric ratios. Some people have a difficulty in remembering this. Not an issue. Let's look at a trick or a word to remember these, which is that Sukatuva. What is sine in this case? What is S? Sine. O is opposite, and H is hypotenuse. And then we have cos, which is adjacent by hypotenuse. So then we have the tan, which is nothing but the opposite by the adjacent. So if you can remember Sukatuva, you're done. I mean, you don't need to memorize anything else, and you should be good to go, right? Well, what else do we have under this chapter? We have one particular set of formulas, actually 3 basic formulas, which is something that you will be learning a lot about in this academic year. I'm going to tell you how these formulas come into picture, and then I'm going to give you an easier way to remember. Let's say this is the angle theta, and then with respect to this angle theta, let's say this is x, which is the opposite side. This is y. This is y, which is the adjacent side, and then we have this as the hypotenuse. So with respect to right angle triangle, the first theorem that comes into my mind is the Pythagoras theorem. So if I'm applying Pythagoras theorem here, I'll have x square plus y square is equal to r square. Wonderful. So if I divide the entire equation by r square, I'll have x square by r square plus y square by r square is equal to r square by r square, which can be written as x by r the whole square plus y by r the whole square is equal to 1 actually. Now what is x by r? Opposite by hypotenuse. Y by r, adjacent by hypotenuse, and opposite by hypotenuse is simply sine square theta plus cos square theta, and that's equal to 1. Okay. One thing that you need to know in trigonometry is that sine theta the whole square is nothing but sine square theta. It's the same. Okay, but this is not equal to sine theta square. This is something else. Okay, if the square is on theta, then it's something else, but if the square is on sine, then we can certainly write this sine theta whole square. So this is your first basic formula, and if you know your first basic formula, you can derive the other two from this itself. Of course, initially you will have a bit of a difficulty, but as and when you keep doing questions, you will memorize this very, very easily. Now, how do I get the second set of formulas? I'll simply divide the entire thing by, let's say, cos. So when I divide the entire equation by cos square, I would be having that. What is sine theta by cos theta? Well, we know what is sine theta by cos theta, tan theta. So this can now be written as tan square theta plus 1 as equal to secant square theta. This is your second formula. So as I said, if you know this, it's easy to get this. Again, from here itself, I can get the third formula, which is basically by dividing the entire thing by sine square. Then I'll have sine square by sine square being a 1, and then I'll have cos square theta by sine square theta, and that's equal to 1 by sine square theta. Cos square theta by sine square theta is basically cot square theta, and that's equal to cosecant square theta, and that's my third formula. So as of now, I've already given you two important things from trigonometry and given you how to memorize them or how to just remember them. One is Sukutova, this entire thing is taken care of, and then you know this one particular formula, which is not very difficult to memorize actually. Sine square theta plus cos square theta is equal to 1, and from there we can always derive this. Now let's look at the standard angles. Okay, so the standard angles that we have are 0, 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 60 degrees, and then the 90 degree, right? What I'm gonna be talking about is this particular table here. Let me just show you the table. There. This is the table I'm talking about. It's a very big table, right? I mean, you will have to memorize all of these. Frankly speaking, not. You don't need to memorize any of this. Okay? You just need to know the first values. These ones, 0, 1 by 2, 1 by root 2, root 3 by 2, 1. If you know these, the remaining values can be easily found out. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you how, actually. So, I'm looking for the sine values here, okay? So, I'm going to go with steps. The first step is to write 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then my second step is 0 by 4, 1 by 4, 2 by 4, 3 by 4, and 4 by 4. And then in my step 3, I'm going to be reducing this, which means 0 by 4 is a 0, this is a 1 by 4, this is a 1 by 2, 3 by 4, and then this is a 1. Now what? Well, in step 4, I'm going to be taking a root of all of these numbers, which is 0, root 0, root of 1 by 4, root of 1 by 2, root of 3 by 4, and then a root 1. And in step 5, the values that I get for these, which is 0 in this case, 1 by 2, 1 by root 2, root 3 by 2, and then a 1. Now these are going to be my sine values. Take this and fill it up here. So I'm going to get a 0, 1 by 2, 1 by root 2, root 3 by 2, and then a 1. So what's the next trigonometric ratio? The next trigonometric ratio is cos. So how do I get the cos values? Reverse this. So which means I'll be writing a 1 first, and then a root 3 by 2 next, and then a 1 over 2, 1 over root 2, and then a 1 over 2, and then a 0. Right? And how do I get the value for tan? Well, what is tan? If you remember, we wrote down tan as sine by cos, sine theta by cos theta. So here is going to be sine theta by cos theta, which is 0. This is 1 by 2 by 1 by root 3 by 2, which is 1 by root 3. There's going to be a 1, and there's going to be a root 3, and this is going to be not defined. So similarly, you can find out the secant and cosecant. Secant is a reciprocal of cos, and cosecant is a reciprocal of sine. Cot is a reciprocal of tan. That's all, over. So you got the table completely, right? So let's go back and look at the table here. You see, you'll find the same thing: 0, 1 by 2, 1 by root 2, root 3 by 2, 1. And the order has been reversed, which is 1, root 3 by 2, 1 by root 2, 1, and 0. Tan values, cosecant, which is simply the reciprocal of sine, secant, and so on and so forth. So how did I memorize this when I did trigonometry? Well, initially I did follow this method, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just in case you forget it, you can always write this on during the examination and make sure your values are correct. But I memorized it. I literally sat down and memorized the first 5 values, which is 0, 1 by 2, 1 by root 2, root 3 by 2, 1. Okay, so you could also do that. Just remember the first 5 values, and all the remaining questions are only based on those. Alright, the next thing that I would like to talk about is the golden hexagon. Oh, well, I'm not sure if that's the exact name of it. At least the video which I saw, in which they mentioned about it, they did say it's a golden hexagon. So, because it's talking about a hexagon, I'm going to draw the hexagon. And I'm going to be joining all the diagonals of the hexagon. Once you write a 1 in the center where all the diagonals meet, start with the tan over here. Write a tan. Write a cot. Now, what are the other trigonometric ratios which starts from a cos? The other trigonometric ratios that start from a cos are cosecant and cosine. Start with the cos here, and then of course cosine will go here. Cosecant will go here, and then you have the cos. Right. So, what is the reciprocal of cosecant? That will go here. The reciprocal of cosecant is basically sine, and the reciprocal of cos is basically secant. Either you can remember it like that, or you can say, okay, I'm going to do the hexagon, and that I'm going to write a tan over here. Tan is nothing but sine theta by cos theta. Then I start filling in the reciprocals. Tan reciprocal is a cot, sine reciprocal is a cosecant, and cos reciprocal is a secant. Any which way is fine. Okay, so you can choose whatever way you feel comfortable with. The idea is that you remember it. So if that's the case, then what can you learn from here? Well, let's see. Tan is sine by cos. All right. So that will happen to any trigonometric ratio. For example, if you start from a sine can be written as cos divided by cot. Or cos can be written as cot divided by cosecant. Or cot can be written as cosecant by cosecant. Okay. That will happen. Okay, great. That's one of the uses of this, hexagon. What are the other uses? Well, I can find out the reciprocals, of course. So sine reciprocal is cosecant, cos reciprocal is secant. That's easy. What else? Well, you can also use this to find your formulas, right? So let's see. Here, I can write this as tan square theta plus 1 as secant square theta. Tan square theta plus 1 as secant square theta. And then you have 1 plus cot square theta as equal to cosecant square theta. Also, sine square theta plus cos square theta is equal to 1. That's the next use of this particular formula, or the hexagon. The next one is the complementary angles formulas, which means sine of 90 minus theta will change to cos theta, tan of 90 minus theta will change to cot theta, and secant of 90 minus theta will change to cosecant theta, and the other way around also. Okay. So these are the few ways in which you can remember all the formulas that's necessary for trigonometry. And once you're done with trigonometry, all you're remembering these values, basically all you're doing is fractions. If you look at all the questions that's there, it's basically dealing with fractions. Let me show you a couple of them. By the way, this is a chapter from 10th of CBSE. ICSE students will learn trigonometry from 9th itself. Again, they learn about complementary angles, not the identities. The identities they learn in 10th. So here again, you can see that once you substitute the values for sine 60, cos 30, and so on and so forth, all you're doing is fractions, addition of fractions, subtraction of fractions. In future, you will learn that in 11 basically that there is a direct formula for this, which is sine of A plus B, sine of 60 plus 30, which is sine 90. That's what it is. But as of now, you're just learning this much. All right. Complementary angles is something that you're getting introduced to over here. ICSE students learn this in 9th standard itself. Very easy. Trigonometric identities, I've given you all the trigonometric identities and how to remember them. If you need me to solve these identities, or you need some explanation on how to solve any one of the identity, let me know. I will try to make a video out of it. As of now, that's the end for the video. As I mentioned, this video is only an introductory video. I'm not going to be solving any questions. Rather, I'll be telling you how to remember the different aspects of trigonometry. Okay, quickly recapping what we did for today's class, or in this video. We spoke about the different trigonometric ratios and how to represent them. The reciprocals, please remember tan theta as sin theta by cos theta. It's easy that way to work with the formulas that you have. Secant as 1 over cos and cosecant as 1 over sine. Most of the time students get confused with secant reciprocal and cosecant reciprocal. Please make sure you memorize them well. Obviously we have the Sokotova here. You can use that to find out what is the trigonometric ratio. Is it opposite by hypotenuse or adjacent by hypotenuse? Okay, and then we used Pythagoras theorem to get a basic formula, which was sin square theta plus cos square theta is equal to 1. Dividing the entire thing by cos square theta, you get this formula. Dividing the entire thing by sin square theta, you get this formula. Again, a easy thing to remember. Please memorize the first 5 values of sine. 0, 1 by 2, 1 by root 2, root 3 by 2, 1. Very easy to remember. Please memorize that. If you are having a difficulty, you can always go through these steps. And then the next thing we talked about is the golden hexagon. I think some videos go with super hexagon. You can go with golden hexagon, whatever it is. I mean, name is not what is important. What is more important is how to remember these things, right? This will give you the 3 basic formulas at least, which is tan square theta plus 1 is secant square theta, sin square theta plus cos square theta is 1, and then 1 plus cot square theta is cosecant square theta. From here you can also figure out the reciprocals. Okay, that's it for this video. Thank you very much for your patience, and thank you for joining for the video. You have a good day. Goodbye.